Okay, so we should be live right now. I'm going to post it on my Twitter, post on my Discord, post. And today here, what we're going to do is another one of this ad hoc live stream. And that is the second one of the day in a way. I mean, in a way, not in a way. And the things is the ad hoc live stream is code that I need to do anyway for myself. And so I'm sharing it live with the things, public for while streaming, 12 hours, then early access for 2 days, then the live stream members for ever. And then live stream members also have other kind of production live stream schedule live streams about production things, Rust on the cloud and so on. But this one is the ad hoc live stream, and this is videos that I'm preparing, which is the Rust with SQLite. So it's pretty cool. And so there's all the XP, the Rust SQLite XP, like I like to have. And this is a part 5. So there's already quite a bit of things behind us, and I'm going to review it a little bit of the code. So like this, you can understand a little bit what we have. So that is a goal. And if we go look at the code, this is what we have done so far. We have the C1 example over there. So I'm going to do just a quick overview, which is basically the connection. We open the memory. We have the connection to create a schema, make sure that we create strict. We have the execute, create the statement, and then we are doing a select. So this is what we're doing right now. And the cool thing here is in the chat, I've put the things that you can, the GitHub. So actually this is already pushed in the GitHub, and this is the topic of the day. So today we're going to review the async multithread. So in the previous example in the GitHub, you have the C01 simple, the join, the values, the JSON, and then the JSONB. And again, I'm going to do a video of that where I'm going to explain everything. It's going to be a relatively short video. So that is going to be the goal. So today, one of the last chapter I want to do in this learning is I want to do the multi-threaded. So everything that we have used right now is a single thread. Yeah, or single process, single thread. And there's no async, there's no threading. And basically we create a connection and then we do everything within the stuff. With SQLite, there's a couple of interesting things about multi-threaded and async and so on, because you have SQLite that have its own thing, and then you have the Rust SQLite, which wraps SQLite, which has its own recommendation. They're actually very good. So we're going to learn how to do that. And the best way, I think, we could do thread or we could do async. And usually when you do one or the other, it's kind of the same kind of thing. So we're going to do the async. And for that, we're going to copy this file. We're going to call it C06. And we do async. Okay? That is, in the world of Rust, it says enough. So now we have the things, there's a weird thing with VS Code where you create a file, you have to click again to not have it, to have the correct opacity. This one here, so there's a whole strategy that I have when I do this Rust XP SQLite, this is what I'm using for myself. So even for myself, when I learn SQLite, I actually have a Rust XP SQLite JC where I do more stuff with ModQL and SQL and so on. But that is a way that I learn any new crates or whatever. So the way that I do is step by step, and the first one is very simple where I do everything in line. And then I have the crate, which is actually a lib. And that allows me to have some utils over there. So I have my DB prints, and then I have my seed, such as I don't have to repeat that all the time. And such as the code there can be very terse into what I'm trying to learn. So if you look at the other example, I took simple because we don't need JSONB, join, and everything. We just need to learn the multi-threaded. But if you look at anything else, now I'm using the connection, which is fine, and I'm using this guy here, which is a create schema. So like this, it creates a schema, and if we look at it, it creates an org and a person. And this one is just a silly one, but it was to show that I have a Manitou one. So that was a goal. So this is the thing here. Let me check something. Yep. And then we have that in our async now. So we're going to use that. So like this, we use the thing that. And we're going to insert. I deleted too much here, I think. Oh, yeah, okay, no, sorry. I'm getting confused here. So I'm going to have the create schema. So that will create the schema. And the way it works, I like to work. And so this will work below. I need to import that, obviously. So I import it from SP SQLite and dbutils and everything. So I import that. And one of the things that I like to do is, so for cargo test, I use cargo test to cargo wash test to test. Beacon works, but beacon test do some stuff with the no capture that sometimes makes it hard for me. So I still use cargo watch. So I do a cargo watch -q -clear -execute, and then I do a run -q quiet example C0106 async. So I like to do that, and that will print the stuff. Like that, when I can change things here, if I change a number here and I say 222, oh, boom, I have the new one here. So I'm happy. I can learn very fast like that. So everything I do, when I learn, I do a cargo run examples. When I code in production or in the library or something, I do a cargo wash test. And all the time for me is to do this kind of debug print. This is the thing that, which by the way, I might change because that sign might be used for SQLite or even Postgres JSON B kind of things. So I want to be able to search that and remove that when I do production coding. But that is a way that I like to do. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions. I'm more than happy to take any questions. And then we have the select over there, and then we have the while here row and the next. That goes, and this is why we have these two guys, and then I'll use a little utility print table that I have over there. So within this kind of GitHub repo to learn, I have this little utilities, which is a print rows, which is the one at the bottom, and then the print select use the print row but does a select statement, and then this one do a print table. So like that, it allows me to do that. And here the print row is pretty cool. It's something I could review also. I think in the video I will explain it, but in short, I do the statement. And in SQLite, when you do the statement, you can get the column names. And that is what I use to format it. And then I put it in a row cells. That is not row like database row. It's a row from this guy, tabled, which allows you to do that layout. So it has nothing to do with SQL. Yes, if you give him a set of rows and cells, he will lay them out like that. So it's nice. It's nice to see. So that is the only kind of trick I have. And so that allows me to very quickly, when I press save, I can see the result. So everything works fine. And actually, we did a very cool stuff. We did the simple to join the values. So that is when you want to own the value and you want to have dynamic SQL. And then we have the JSON B and then the JSON. And now it's the async. So one thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the values over there. And this is a good one. So it's a hack, yeah? It's not a thing. But the goal here is I have this name value list. So that is a name and that is a value. Eventually, that will be part of other SQLite kind of things. You want to be able to have that from a struct. So I developed a mod QL that allows you to extract that from a struct. There's also SQL that allow you to have a SQL builder with this kind of thing. So regardless of how you do it, at some point you are going to have a list of column names or column identifier in SQL and a list of value. That is not a JSON value. That is a Rust SQLite value. So in Rust, every time we have a system talking to another system out of Rust, it's other types like JSON, like a database, like whatever, you often have the pattern of a value, which is the one in between that will, translate the type of here SQLite from the type of Rust. And then you do all the from and into that goes well, such as you can do that. So for example, in SQLite, we do not have integer. We don't have Boolean, sorry. So what it does here is to say, hey, if the value, if it's a Boolean, then the value will be actually an integer, which will be I, which is interesting. It's you just use the Rust system here, which is right. And then it does that, and then boom, it has I64. So that is the way it does it. It's putting it. So we have that. And so the thing that I want to do when you test for async or multi-thread is about the same thing, because you need to make sure that it's sync and shared. You need, one of the nice things is to have these kind of things where we're going to have, let me think about it. Do we need that? Yeah, we're going to need that. We're going to use it anyway. So I'm just thinking, do I need that to add this complexity? So in my code, I will have that, but perhaps we don't have to have that now. So let's not have this now. So we're just going to have that. And now what we want, we're going to do, let me think. So in the join here, we had this thing, these names, and we just enter the name, and then the org was 0 or whatever, it doesn't matter. So we're going to do that. We can remove the French team here. And then we're going to do a for names in names, name in names. And I'm going to do, so the thing here that we're going to add for the async, and I could have done that with threading. It's the same thing, more or less. So I'm going to have, I have a Rust NX extension, which has all my snippets like this. I don't have all the time because I write a lot of code in stuff. So I say group sync, and that will give me my Tokyo. So that I get that. And once I can get that, I'm going to do here a Tokyo main. Okay. So far, so good. And sorry, I need to do an async. And you're going to see right now we're still happy, but we're not going to be happy for long. So we do names and we say, hey, we do the connection over there. Yeah, the connection that we have shared. And we are going to insert name. And we're going to insert name. And the year of birth is going to be, everybody is 2000. We don't really care. And then we have the select at the bottom and we print. And that's it. Yeah, so we have, when we do the select, we do everything and everything has new, it doesn't matter. That just, if we make that works async, then everything will work. Typically what I will do at this point, I will create, what I will do, I will create another one, and a JIT log to see what we have, and then let me use the notation, okay, git c. And if you want to have in my chat here, you have this guy, which is here. That is a GitHub. So if you want to see that and run the same thing I'm running, I'm going to push it right now. Prep C06 async prep before async. Okay. And tilde, my notation is to say work in progress. So far, so good. That git push, boom, you have it on your side. So, sorry, git add, forget about that. Git add, I'm going to do a git for amend. It's an alias, git GPO force. Not nice, but anyway, I don't think anybody kind of put it already. So now I have this one, and now we have this. But what we want, and here we do select, let's say that the insert, we want to have many things inserting at the same time. So we're going to say, oh, okay, we can do that. We're going to do a Tokyo task, spawn, no, oh, this is funny. Spawn, and then we have this, and we're going to let async move. Okay, so he did that. This guy did that, Copilot. Press save, and complain here on the error. We're not going to log the error right now. We're just going to do that. Okay, so we do the print, and we do error. And we're going to do error while insert. Again, the goal here is just to learn, to see how we can do that. So for every name, we are spawning a new task. Now I'm forgetting something here, which is the await. Okay, and now it's complaining because it's telling me that the connection has been moved. Okay? That's fair because we moved it there. So we're going to say, okay, and we're learning here. Huh. Interesting. Didn't think about this guy. Okay, here's my problem. My problem here is I did the open in memory. The reason why I did the open in memory is because when we learn everything else, it's very nice because the create schema doesn't have to worry about if the schema is already there. We start from scratch. Now, to learn the async await is tricky because the right way of doing it is to open and then this connection pulling and stuff. That will be later. But it will be to open another connection. But I don't think it's not possible to open another connection into the same memory. That will be interesting. So if I do a connection, and I don't think that connection has clone. It doesn't have clone. So the trick is what I will need is to do open. But you're going to see here, we're going to do, and we're going to say open my db3. I'm going to press save. Now I have a connection there. So I'm going to say const db path str, and that will be this guy, and that will be this guy. Hey, Roberto, how you doing? So question here in a project in which I was using ORM feature. Yeah, only way to do go async in the database connection is to use a pool manager, yeah, that pool or stuff, or there's R2D2 as well, and then get the connection. Yeah, so in this today here, I want to go a little bit deeper than that. I want to do a bottom up. So first, I don't use ORM in these kind of things. And I'm not saying the database pool is not needed in some cases. I'm saying that there's a progressive way. And in fact, if we go, hey, from the Philippines, if we go, there's a couple of things here that are pretty cool. So let me show you. So if we do a SQLite multi-threaded, don't worry, I will make it bigger. Using multi-thread. So this is, so every time you see the documentation of SQLite is gold. Those guys, they really know how to do their stuff. So here's the things. You can read that, you Google that, it's very simple. You read that. And this is an important one. It took me a couple of times to read it, to understand. But in short is, you can compile SQLite to be single-threaded. And in this case here, everything is disabled and you better access your data only with one thread. Good news is Rust allows us to make sure that we are thread safe. And in fact, the connection of Rust SQLite is not shared. So we have to put it behind a mutex if we wanted to reuse it. And I think that is a very smart decision. And we are going to look at, in fact, is the developer of Rust SQLite really know his stuff, and then he's going to give us very good advice. Then my understanding, and it's not something I've compiled, is that, yeah, yes, it's you will see, even if I go and the connection won't be available. I agree. But I'm explaining first. So first we have SQLite, which is in C, which is compiled and embedded into our Rust. So SQLite has some multi-threaded capabilities. And so if you compile it with single thread, then there's no multi-thread, you better, otherwise everything crash. Then you can compile it with a flag, which is SQLite thread safe. Okay. And I don't know what the equal 1 will be. But in short, these two guys, the difference is when you are in a multi-thread, it's multi-threaded, but the connection is only one thread. Otherwise, it doesn't, it won't be nice. Yeah. And then if is a mode serialized, then the connection can be shared. Okay. This is what they're saying there. Across threads. And then they implement their own mutex. But since we're in Rust, we already have the mutex from Rust. So in fact, if we go to Rust SQLite, which is what we're using, and we're going to go open flag. Hopefully that will be boom to the right dock. So here they say is when you open a database, you can give a flags, and flags is bits. Yeah, so you decide what you want. So you have all these kind of flags over there. And this one I'm not really sure, but I mean, we read the doc, we can understand it. It's pretty good there. And this is a default. And if we look there, this is what we need to take for granted. And I can see. So here's the thing is, by default, this is not the open full mutex. It's not the default that is opening. It's not opening like that. And is explaining here that this flag should probably never be used with Rust SQLite, as we ensure that's received statically. We implement send and not sync. So in a way, because we're in Rust, we can guard across all of this. And so we don't have to pay the taxes on the mutex on the SQLite side, because we can manage it the way we want on the Rust side. Okay, so that is what basically saying. And then even he goes deeper, saying that actually sometimes it's not super reliable. So the mode serializable is what we are calling full mutex kind of things. So in short, and this is why, Roberto, you had to use DB pool and everything by default, because in short, the good way of using it, this guy, it's either you create a new connection, so it's compiled with multi-threaded. I'm 99.99% sure here with everything I'm reading, because otherwise, if you compile with single-threaded, you cannot upgrade to this guy. So when you start the connection, you can decide which mode you are, but then you cannot upgrade, you cannot switch it. That is what they are saying there. And so the point is that we are basically multi-threaded. This is what I'm understanding for everything by default. And we shouldn't goof around too much with that. And then after we can optimize as we learn more. But by default, we're going to have one thread, one connection. And then there's multiple ways of doing it. And so usually when you use a DB pool connection, you will use their way of managing stuff, which they will have a way to enforce that one way or another. So that is a trick. So now if we go back to our code here, and I'm going to fix the connection error. So now we have that, but I have another problem now. And my other problem is, so let's say that even if I didn't want, so I'm going to remove that for now. Sorry, I'm going to remove this guy. Hopefully you're going to know why. So that should work. Compile now. And I'm happy. Compiles, create the tool and everything. Okay, just to make sure that with file it works. But you're going to say, if I press save again, it's going to fail. Because the database already exists. So I do a create schema, but I didn't have the logic if not exist. So I don't know if there's something like that. Okay, so what I can do, and I'm going to show you how I work. I have my, and you can, so ChatGPT, the chat, the Copilot chat is very annoying because it tried to be too smart, and by too smart, he's too annoying. So I prefer a little bit dumber and less annoying than smart and very annoying, at least for machines. And so the thing I'm saying is to say that I'm going to take this guy, and I've done my little DVI, I've done a video about it, but basically I have these things where I can do DVI run craft code. Okay, so that's my way of running custom agent that is installed by default that are craft code. An agent is a markdown file with some Lua and everything, so it's pretty cool. Bottom line is it will create a file which is craft code, which are already there. I'm going to change the context. I'm going to say, I have this in SQL for SQLite. How can I say to create only if? And I know that in Postgres is possible. I don't know in SQLite is possible. So I have two choices: go to the doc or go to AI. Those days, go to AI first. You don't trust it. You go to your doc and you trust it more. Yeah. So the doc, I don't know how long it's going to last, but the doc right now, typically, sometimes they're out of date, but typically they are created by the author, and at least there's less hallucination. It can be outdated, but at least it doesn't hallucinate. today, because tomorrow is all going to be created with AI. So how can I say to create only the table if it is not there? And then I do that, and then boom. And here I'm using deep chat, and I'm lucky I have this guy. So that is pretty cool. So I'm going to take this word for granted. And the cost of error is very low. So I am okay. I'm going to my seed. I'm going to add that. I'm going there. I'm going to add that. So obviously, if I change the schema, I will delete the database, which I have it here. Now, the way that I have in the Gitignore all the time, yeah, semi-PG true. Yeah. But I didn't know, and I wanted to show off my DVI. But I like, it's a joke because I would have done that anyway. So, because in fact, I don't remember that by heart either. So I do that, I come back here to this guy, and now I can go back to this guy. I don't need that. I don't need the JSONB. I don't need the cargo to ML. I don't need the value. And I'm going to keep that. I'm going to press save. That shouldn't work. Huh? If. Okay. Did I stuff? Create table if. Oh, yeah, my fault. I don't know if that. Now, DVI is. Well, but I'm not taking the bait. Create table. Dave, I'm joking. Because if you get me started on DVI, I can do 3 hours on DVI. Okay, cool. So I did the wrong copy paste. So it's not AI's fault, it's my fault. So now I can do this. And why do I have all these guys? I don't understand why I have 4. I'm sure there's a good reason for it. And go back there. And why? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Because every time I add the database. So if I do it again, it's going to create again and stuff. So I don't want that, correct? So I'm going to back to my craft code. Well, okay, this one I can be a little bit. I'm going to go there. And again, this seed stuff is just, this create schema is just for me to do this learning very fast. Yeah, so this is not the way I will do it in production, obviously. So I'm going to do a connection, execute, and I'm going to do, so this one, hopefully delete from org. And then I press save. Okay. That's fair enough. What am I doing? Oh yeah, okay. This guy take another argument, which is the params. And I can put that like that. Boom. So clean the orgs, and I'm going to clean the users, the persons. Boom. Okay, now we're back to start things. I make sure that I'm not going to, so I don't type that all the time. I'm not crazy. Attack CWE. No, bacon run. Because here I like bacon. It has a little flash for the example. C01, simple, not simple. I'm not using create. Join to make sure that I didn't break join. Fair enough. C02, boom. I didn't break it, so it's good. So I didn't break the create. So now I'm going to do C06, async, boom. Then I have these things, it's great. Go back there. I don't need to do that. If we are here, we are pro. We're doing the select is okay. And in fact, you know what? I don't even need to do that. Because that was to learn how to select and then debug print. Okay, boom, we have this. So we have the two tables here, which is the things. So I'm going to go back, log, And I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to do a git amend GPO false. So I'm being mean here. It's just that I don't want to have silly things. So if you do a git pull false or whatever it is. And then you don't do that, obviously, if you have production code because it gets annoying. So then I'm going to do this one, BRE, boom, I have my select, I'm happy. And now, so now it's cool, yes, because we have our database business. We are creating the connection, but if it's already created, it doesn't complain. If it's not there, if I delete that, press save, it will boom, create it, everything is fine. So it's beautiful. So now what we want is to say, we want to do this guy, correct? Oops, sorry, I don't know what I did. Oh yeah, okay, what I did is this. We want to do this guy. Now it's going to complain because it's going to say the connection stuff. So it's fine. We can create a connection just before. Okay. So here I'm learning the bottom up. I'm learning what can I do with the connection. So now that we read in the doc that this is not, the connection is not shared, you shouldn't staff, and it's a Rust business to make sure that one thread, one task, use it at a time. Okay, so we're back home in a way. So now if I press things, this is going to complain. Yeah, we solve this one. Sometime, I don't know, I think it's Rust as well and stuff. It doesn't show the error. So we think as, oh, cool, we're going to solve that and we're good. But no, because in fact, the connection is moved on the first loop, but then it's reused again. So if we didn't have a loop, it would have been okay, yes? If we didn't have a loop like that, I hope it was going to be okay, otherwise I'm not going to look smart. But if I do a let name, and we're going to do a name 1, or name 0, sorry, I'm not in Lua. Names, then that works. I complain, it said, you know, you're silly, but it works. And then I see the stuff there, okay? And by the way, when I do code, oh yeah, okay, this is another type. Oh no, when I do stuff, I like to uncomment this one, such as I don't see this error. However, before I commit, I like to turn it back on because the Clippy and stuff is amazing. So I always like to have them. So then I have the insert person and stuff, and everything is working because I don't do a for loop. The problem is, as soon as I do a for loop, well, I move the thing to one loop, and then after I have the second loop, and then I move to the other loop. And then it doesn't like it. And I think if I do that, it's not going to be over smart. It's going to, even if it's static, it's not going to count the guy. So it's going to say, no, you cannot do it. So, and this one, we should remove that. So the trick here is we can say, okay, fair. If we want to learn, we say, well, actually, we're going to do, so every time what they're saying, actually, so this will be a file. And one way we can do it is every time we use it, we do like that. And on this guy, we're going to do, this one is a tricky one. If with that, is smart enough to move and to not move. Ooh. That is pretty good. I don't like to put unwrap. So I never put unwrap anywhere. That's just my style because I don't want them to bleed into if I copy paste. I understand what they have unwrap. It's a little bit unfortunate that all the examples and everything are doing unwrap and expect, because then after, if you leak an unwrap in your production code, guess what? You're back to unreliable. So you are using a super reliable language, but then because you copy paste all these examples, then you are back to, I'm a little bit dramatic here. You are back to JavaScript, yeah, where things crash, or back to whatever, or C or whatever, where things crash, not because it's not memory safe, it's just because we have unwrap. So there's one thing here which often I use res. I need to think about more. Yeah, it's a little bit thing, but you know, everything is always a net value. I'm not a game developer, but the few things that I played with, and I did a video a long time ago about Bevy. Bevy is very cool. I mean, I'm not a game developer, but the way it works with the component and stuff, and in a way, Axum is a little bit like Bevy, but for web app, and so it's a very cool pattern. And I've done a JSON RPC crate, which follows the same injection. So a lot of stuff are injection stuff. So here the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like that. Okay, we're going to do that. Else. We're going to use the thing else. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good use of it. So okay. And we're going to do a print, an error. And again, this is not production coding. Usually what you have is you don't run tasks like that. It's made into a framework. You take the result back, and then you like do the thing. So yeah, I'm going to show you. But that is what typically you do. Yeah. So you wouldn't run it like that. So error while open connection. In fact, you know, yeah, because I need to get out. Then we don't know the error. So that's why, yeah. Yeah, that's why it's this pattern is good, but here we don't know the error, but whatever. So now let's go, but everything works. You see, we stuff. And so yes, we open a new connection. We have things here. We can have, I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking we're going to do another one here. For 110, we're going to go a little bit crazy. For 110, and then we're going to say a let name equal format. And here I'm building the example. So when I'm building the example, I'm trying to think about what I want to teach. And even for me, like in this mode, I will have enough for me. But then after I want to show, you know, what I want to teach without adding too much complexity for each item. So that is what I'm thinking. So I have the name of the guy, and then I'm going to have the ID here. So that is going to be the new name. So that should create quite a bit of people now. Okay. Now, he created all in order. Why did he create it all in order? He created all in order because we always do an await here. So every time we do this guy here, we are going to actually wait it until we do the things. So the right way of doing it will be to add it the future. So one thing that I didn't like about this is, yeah, it's tricky because I need to tell the error now. So I cannot return a boxed in. That's the trick of the, I'm thinking. Okay, here it is. We're going to do it like this. So this guy here, it's the await over there, and we're going to want to have the response to be a result of, what does this guy return? Okay, usize, which is the number of items that has been updated. So usize, that will be the guy. and string will be the error. So like this, I don't need to be too smart. So now I'm going to say that I'm going to return the error. Well, actually, now I can be much nicer. I can do the map error. So I will do a let con, and then I'm going to have Copilot trying to guess. Did it get it? No, because you cannot do that. You cannot do that because it wouldn't return. So this one here, then map error. That will be the error, which is whatever it is. And then we can do an error to string, because we know that the error always have to string. And then we do a question mark. That should work. And here I need to fix this one, which is a map error. I'm venturing a little bit here. I hope I'm not hallucinating. Error. And then I'm going to do an error to string. I have a connection. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Which is num. Okay, num, whatever. New size, okay. No. I'm doing something silly here. Why cannot have this? Am I being, I'm doing something silly. I'm not too far. I'm going to do that. This is silly. I think this is the one you want. But I'm not understanding it. I am not understanding it. There's something I'm missing here. I'm missing up something silly here. I think might be fix using Copilot, but this is it's never working. This never works, this fix a Copilot. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm going to go back to my guy, to what I think was stuff, and I'm going to copy paste. I'm not going to be, I'm missing up something silly here. So I'm going to go to my craft code business. I'm going to do that. Well, I'm valuable experience. I will be happier if I will look smarter, but that's fine. I have this in Rust, but somehow the error return in the spawn doesn't match. Can you fix it? And now we're not going to goof around. We are going to use, and it's super cheap, we're going to use DVI, we're going to use the reasoner. Let's go crazy. Run. Oh, sorry. Run. There's something here silly. That is sometimes a little bit, in this error stuff, that is where I get tricked sometimes when you had this closure stuff and you have to return errors. And there's some neat trick here, but sometimes somehow my brain kind of gets the stuff. And I need to get better at it. And I think I will do an agent. I'm going to do an agent about that. Like this kind of thing. Because when I see it and I say, oh, I'm so dumb. But there's something here. There's some things where somehow it doesn't see all the errors. If all these guys, so I don't know if I can do a cargo fish there, but then I will need to put the future stuff. So I don't know how the thing is going to go. So this is why I did the print before, but like since this live stream is not about the final. I mean, I'm going to do the video where I'm not going to spend all this time, obviously, and explain, how the thing works. But right now, I want to find a semi-elegant way to do that. And it's cool because when people see it, it's like, oh, okay. And even me, I say, oh, okay, this is a way to do it. Yeah. So the thing I don't understand is that I don't understand why I have the num here, which is this guy. So I'm going to do unwrap. I don't like unwrap, but I'm going to do just the unwrap now, just to split the problem. And now to see the type, I get error. Why do I get error? Okay. I'm going to put then I'm going to do num like that. Now that works, but the unwrap, I can't commit or show code with unwrap. This is not a thing I do. Let's see, I think the guy is done now. So in my prompt, I say, don't explain. I will have loved that I explain here, but let me see what is that. It is a connect, it is a staff, okay. I don't think it solved anything. Am I missing something? I forgot to do that. It's giving me the same code. Are you kidding me? Oh no, it's giving me that. No, I don't think that sounds off. So my stuff works here, and he gave me that. Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I know. So I'm going to go back to my guy. And then I have a result of len. I'm going to do a flatten here, and I will go back to this guy. I think I can. No, I cannot do flatten. This is annoying. I don't understand why. No, I understand, I'm sorry. It's my mistake. Okay, I'm silly. I knew I was silly. And that is a problem with Rust sometimes. This is my error. But the Tokyo spawn here, okay, this is the thing here. Sorry about that, guys. This is my error, but then it returned a join hang. But the output is an error, I think, regardless. So the output is an error. So in the case of output, and this the type is hard to find, but the output is an error. So the errors that I get here, this is the Rust lib, but if I go, sorry, if I go there, I cannot have it. Let me see. Join error, okay? So this is the thing. So that is the thing. See, this is where I got confused. It has the two errors. It's normal. So I was not drunk. So I can I do a question mark here? Yeah, that works. That's cool. Okay. And sometimes when you spend time like this at understanding silly stuff, it's good time. I mean, good time. I enjoy it actually. So this is a reason I was like expecting this to somehow return my error, but it doesn't. It's normal to be a. This is a result of the spawn, which is a join, which has a stuff, and that is mine, which is fine. And then I will have two kind of question mark over there. So I will have one, which is this one, and then one towards the staff, and then I have my user side. So I'm happy with that. Boom, I get that. That works nicely. I don't know why. Sometimes I'm silly. So staff. So this one works, and then this guy works nicely. And then the guy will say, "Hey, why do you do that? You're right." And then that's it. Okay. Back in business, sorry, I made my life too hard. So this is why we have two question mark. One to remove the join, the error for this guy, and one to have my wrap error or my result. It just happened that what I return is an error, and because I made sure that everything is a string, then I am a happy kid. Yeah. So that is what I need to do, because otherwise this is where the question mark kind of stop working, or you need to do cargo fish and it gets tricky. Okay, so now we are this, and now everything works. Yeah, so if we go back there, so the reasoner is not reasoning so well. So now I have this run, I have all these guys. Sorry about the chat here. Ping me when I have the chat. That is, I like the chat, but sometimes I need to move it there. That's perfect. And stuff. So that's one way of doing it. And that is actually, hear me out, that is actually what's happening when you use ORM stuff. The only difference is that they have a connection pool and they keep the stuff. Okay? So that is one way to do the async or the multi-threaded, is you create a new connection, or you can do a mutex, basically. Or you can do a DB pool. So that is the three options. If you look at the doc, which I like a lot, and this is, I mean, this guy really knows what he's doing. That is another thing with Rust ecosystem. It's, I don't know, I feel that the developer are, smelly developers that are top notch. And so explain here that, you know, don't assume connection is thread safe, because if you read the literature, it will say, well, this is thread safe and stuff, but it's not. And he actually make connection in the Rust side. He made the connection not thread safe. Not thread safe. Sorry, it's thread safe because it doesn't allow multiple things. So it does the right thing. So to access a database evolution, you should either create a multiple connection, which is what we did, or for a thread, which is what we did for his task, which might not be a thread, but there's no way for the Rust to know. So it's treated basically as a separate thread, even if it's in the same thread. And if you have many stuff, here's the thing. Wrapping the Rust SQLite connection in a mutex is completely reasonable. So I done kind of an application stuff, and my go-to way to do this, and I might create two guys here. I think, perhaps I will call them threads, I don't know. But I don't want to call them thread because people are going to say it's not thread. So there's this way here, which is fine. And so we can connect it like that. And we can say, what can we say? Git add, git log. I'm not going to do a git push stuff. I'm going to do git c plus c06 async. First pass. Work with multiple connection. So behind the scene, it's Rust SQLite, it's SQLite that makes sure that, you know, when you create a connection with stuff, he keeps track of everything. So that is what is working. There's a multi-process stuff, which is another thing, which is if you have two processes, no way for them to communicate. I mean, that would be overkill, and people don't do that for the database stuff. And so if you have two processes updating the same file, there's some support in SQLite, but then you get into a danger zone in a way, which is tricky sometimes because sometimes, you know, you want to use one for all, but they have a kind of a lock and all these kind of things. For write, they have a write ahead log, but that is not making the multi-process fail-proof either. So there's a whole thing there. So that is one way. The way that I will do it, yeah, the way that I do it is, so first of all, my style is I don't use ORM because I don't want my types to be the exhaustive representation of my database. Database is king, and my code is not peasants, but, you know, in between, the noble, as we will say, call them in French. But it's not the king. The king is a database. And so I manage a database with a database language. And when I talk, I want to talk SQL to my database. That is how I update my database, I migrate my database and everything. That's just my way. So for me, I don't want to have my types and then having some super cool libraries that say, hey, you know, because you annotated this one like this, we're going to update the type of the database and stuff. That is not the business of my code. What my code is a view on the database and a partial view. I don't need to be an exhaustive view. Yeah. So this is what the approach often I'm taking with these things. I'm not saying if ORM works for you is great, yeah, but this is what has been working very well for us. So typically what I do is I might use a database pool, but my first step is to do a C07. So I don't know if I'm going to have that for the DB, but I will do well, actually, I'm going to do something like that. And I'm going to do a C07. And then I'm going to do DB manager. Yeah, okay, or whatever it's called. And I'll go back to this guy. We'll see if I can find a cooler name later. But C7 DB manager. Okay, now okay, it works because I didn't do anything new. Now, the thing I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to go there, and this is where I will create it this way, okay? manager. I will flatten it out for now, for this use case. Actually, I'm not going to call it here, because in a way, this one is my DB utils, the dirty stuff that I don't need. And I will create a pub mod DB. And that is the thing that I will use in, that will be the beginning of what I will use in my production client app or whatever. And I don't use that in the cloud. If I use that in the cloud, if I use SQLite in the cloud, it's for the edge. So if I have one process and I want to store data, and I want this process to go and look quickly on the database, or even in memory perhaps, or whatever, I will use SQLite. Otherwise, I use Postgres all the time. But in Postgres, I have the similar kind of things where regardless whatever I use, if I use ORA, I always have an abstraction layer. One is a model layer, which we don't do here because we go directly. And the other one is what I call the store layer, which has a database. Yeah, so in fact, I could create store and everything, but whatever. So I have the database there. And then over there, what I will create is a pub struct DB. Okay. I will create it as with path, and I will do an option. Will I do an option? Yeah, and you're going to say an option of path birth or string. Yeah. And then I will say, well, this guy is an option because if none, then in memory. So I will do my little abstraction like that. And actually, I will do it and stuff. So now that I understand the raw things, I know that I have a couple of options. One is to create a new connection all the time. That's not really cool because my code shouldn't worry about that. I want the abstraction layer anyway. So I'm going to create a DB tool, which is mine. It's not someone else. It's not R2D2 or connection pool. I'm creating mine, which will wrap someone else. And it's fine. I don't want the library of someone bleeding into my application code. Yeah? So this guy, that's my way of architecting. This guy, the path here, I say the path of the file, and if it's known, is in memory, and otherwise, path of the file, G, it's always good to have this, and they say my db.db3. In fact, I'm going to do something like that, where I'm showing that the path is a file path. It's kind of, there's something implicit about this example. That is what I will do. And then I will do Copilot, crames that. That sounds good. Does that sound good? Does that sound good? Yeah. The thing I don't like is I have to do a toString and everything. I don't like that. So I will do a new. I will do a from path. No, I will do that. New, which is going to be usually my things. And what I like to do here is not that. Oh, go away. I'm going to do path implementation impl into string. That is what I will do. So here in this example here, for the one that are just joined, I'm preparing my video, which is going to be a video about Rust and SQLite. I'm showing a little bit all of the steps, such as we can learn step by step. So we learn simple, join, values, dynamic values, the JSON, JSONB, async. So the raw async of, what is the limitation of the connection without anything else. And now I'm doing a kind of a pattern. And to say the pattern that I like is a DB manager. And then inside my DB manager, I will have an abstraction that might or might not use connection pools or such a thing. So right now it's to say, I will do a new stuff into string, which is fine. So like this, if it's a reference, I create a string. If it's give me a string, then I don't have new allocation. And I'm going to, this one would be a sum. Will be a path, sum, path, into, okay? And now if I want to be fancy, I can have a fn new, oh, yeah. What was the name when we open it? I can try to, yeah, it's not open. I don't want to open it at this point, yeah? So I would say new. And the reason why I didn't take option, because I like to be able to just give whatever that look like a string. Yeah, so in new memory DB. Okay, this is low. Okay, sorry. Usually I will do like that. Okay. That is a weird with the memory word, but that is what I will use because that's the pattern that I use for the builder. So I will do these kind of things here where now I have self and I will return self, and then I will let this guy go pilot. So this stuff is not too bad. Now, this is the things, the one I will do. I wouldn't do that the way I like to do it. I say constructors. I love the fact that I can have my blocks like that, and this is awesome. Such as I can have different blocks and I scope them by whatever I want them to do, yeah? And then here's a trick. The trick is I don't want to have my app code saying open or not. It's not its business in a way. Its business should be to say, I want to execute something or I want to do something. So, and then the constructor here will be the one that will create the connection or not. Okay? So that is a way that I like to have it. So I will put it, which is, I say, the executors, the big executors, and I will do an implementation of DB, and then I will do, so I will put them async, okay, pub, and I will do an async execute, for example. Self. And then I will return the result. So that will be the create result, which is today boxed in, which is good for my little stuff, but then after it will get better over time. And then use size, okay? And that is where I will do that part, okay? So this is the thing. DB Manager works because I didn't break anything. So I will do that. There's another one that I like to do is, you know, when you execute with returning. So I don't know how many of you here have been in the previous live streams. If you are a member, you probably see them here in your early access. So I think there's some here that there's some streams that are there. And they're pretty long, yeah, so stuff. But again, the video is coming where everything is going to be concised. But there's a pretty cool way where we, you know, this is a way you execute with a returning ID. And so that is pretty cool. And this one here, that is what I want to allow. I want to allow to return the ID kind of thing. So what I will do is, I don't know what this one was not saved. I will do kind of pub async, and I will do a fn exec with returning num. The reason why I say num is because I don't know if it's ID, but here I'm going to say assume the SQLite will return the SQL will have a returning, will end with returning some num colon. Okay. So, and in fact, when I say num, I can be more precise, perhaps. So I'm going to do the join at 64. I could do that. And this is fine. And so returning ID, we qualify on it. Now the question is, what do I take as a params? So that we're going to solve that. And then I'm going to return a result of I64. So that is something I will do. Now, the fact that I use a connection pool, a mutex, or whatever, it doesn't matter. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by implementing a mutex first, and then I do stuff. Then there's a next level up when I want to do transactions, so I need to expose the transaction object and all these kind of things. But again, I want to try to extract some of those, abstract some of those kind of constructs, such as my application code doesn't have to know it. The next one here that I want to do is I want to be able to, this kind of stuff that we did over there. I don't want to do a whole SQL builder and certain stuff. So I want to say, hey, you give me your statement, your prepare statement, which is always a reference of a string because it should be static. We're not going to enforce static because you want to allow people to dynamic it, but again, it should be a prepare statement. And then after we have these query rows, or query, I think. Where do I have my select? Query. So I think the query will be good. So like this, we're not stuff. So query, the only difference is that our query will take the string and will take the params. And this one is a tricky part here. And then it will return, and for now it's fine, we'll return the rows of the database. Later we can do more stuff. So I'm going to have the execute. So this one, I need to have a symmetry here. I'm going to have the exec. Not very proud of this, but whatever. Well, this is not really Rust. Rust people will say don't save. So then I do that, and I will do pub async fn query, and I will do the SQL, which is a str, and then I will do the params, which is something. So we're going to put it void right now, which I don't know what to do, and then it's going to return. And we're going to return. For now, we're not going to be too smart. We're going to return this guy. So what is this guy? Is a reference. Game over. Game over because I need to work on this one. So every time you return something with a reference is a trick. So here it's tricky because it's cute because we have the statement and stuff. But I don't want to return rows and statements. Because the rows, and this is what we're using in the print, the rows have the pointer on the statement. And this is why it's nice because you can see what the rows has. I'm going to have to think about this one. This one is not, I mean, if I solve it, it's pretty cool. So I need to do a result. That is not the same lifetime. And there's something there. Okay, so right now I'm going. I'm not happy with that, but I'm going to say pub field. Okay, and I'm going to say struct field, and I say name string, and then I say value of the database, not Sally, this guy. Okay, so that is what I have, and that is what I will return a field. I'm not happy for multiple reasons because it will duplicate all of the names here. So if you have a lot of, it's a lot of duplicated data and stuff, but it's a start. At least we'll see if we can do that. Okay, then I say because I put to do, so there's nothing. And now the param guys, so I'm just going to implement these 4 guys here. These 3 guys, I think then after we can do the rest later. Now, and I have 45 minutes, so hopefully I can do that in 45 minutes. Now I'm going to so first here, what I'm going to do is this one. And here the thing is, I'm going to put it in a mutex right now. So I'm keeping both the path and the things. There's an argument to say you don't need to keep the path anymore. But I'm going to create the connection and open the connection at first. Eventually, that could become a connection pool. And you do want kind of a connection pool because if the database is not, I mean, in this case, it's a file and other things. But when you have a remote database, you want to say if your database is not there, you don't want your application crash in a way. So the request can crash, but at least not the application. So you want to have a kind of, if you have a pool, when it's well done, the pool kind of retry itself. So a connection and a request will fail. It won't retry the query, but at least when the database will come back. So using a connection pool is not bad. It's not a bad strategy, it's a good one. But right now we're going to do our own thing, which is going to be an arc, a mutext. And then we're going to have the connection there. Boom. Okay, mutex. Huh, interesting. So this one, there's always a question about which one to use. I'm going to use this one because we are not going to lock across a weight. If you lock across a weight, then you should use Tokyo. This is my understanding. This one here we do as path, so we're going to do a let. So let path, okay. Path into. And then we'll say let connection or con equal tag. That's fair enough. I do not want expect. So I'm going to wrap that into a result. I'm going to do a question mark over there, other things. And then a path. I say, hey, Copilot, do your stuff. Come on, wake up. This one shouldn't be hard. Oh yeah, okay. Path, connection, and that would be an okay. So that should work. Okay, my mistake then. Ah. Sorry. Can I do an into here and it will go pam pam pam? No, sorry. Can I do a con into? No, that would have been too nice. So I can do an arc, new text, new, I think it is, and then con. Yep. Okay, that's good. And then we're going to see if Copilot is good on this one. Use AI, use Copilot, there's nothing wrong. Make us love sometime. This guy couldn't even do that. What is going on? Donc we pass none. And then the connection. I hope you can do it. Okay. That's the thing. Now, the cool thing about this is, I'm not saying something here, the feature won't be supported, but the cool thing is when I have a new and I have a path, I can reconstruct the things if the connection goes off or whatever. Usually you will use a connection pool here. I'm just using a connection, I put it in a mutex, but it's completely valid to use a connection. So this pattern here doesn't say, oh, don't use connection pooling or whatever, or even ORM. It's to say, just abstract it. Just own your abstraction database. Here's a little hack for memory because I have the things, but there's an argument to say you cannot do it for memory. The problem of memory, if it crashes, its connection doesn't work anymore, or whatever, then the whole thing is lost. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a connection, but it's not. Okay, let me explain. I'm not trying to be on the defensive here. It's not a connection pool that I'm implementing. What I'm implementing is my abstraction for my app of how I want to call the database. So I want not only to own this, but here I might have R2D2 or whatever, or like Deadpool or whatever. But what is important is not really this. This is like I do a mutex because it's the cheapest way for me to get the functionality and to get my app going. But what is important for me is that signature. These guys here. This is what is gold. Because that will allow me to do the things here to simplify my application, such as every time I do an execute and returning ID, I don't have, it's very consistent, boom, boom, boom. And then I can, and then on top of that, then I have my model layer, which is I call my model controller. And then all the app code can go to the model controller, and then they just get the models. They don't have to worry about the database. So this is a little bit kind of the strategies that I have. So for example, if I go, let me try to show a little bit something. I think I can try to show some. Give me a sec. You're kidding me? I don't have it. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So that is one thing I've done. It's for my backend, for my client, it's always the same thing. I have the model here, and then I have the model here, and then I have the store. So the store, that would be where I have my dub and stuff. And then all my application, that is a desktop application or web application, it goes to the model. They don't go to the store, they go to the model. And so they get clean model stuff. And then the model, when they go to the store, they go to the store layer. I'm sorry, I'm looking there. Goes to the store layer, and then the store layer has the database kind of thing. So that is a way that I architect. The fact here that is a DB pool connection and stuff is fine. It's my DB abstraction layer. So that is where I split the beast. Let me go back there. Now we have that. So that being said, This little stuff on the Stream Deck is I did a live stream on it. It's pretty cool. Now, but you're right. Yeah, it looks like a thing. So I'm going to do the easiest one, which is the execute SQL str. That I think is the easiest guy to do. And so I will say let con, and I will say please. I wouldn't do unwrap. I will do that. I don't. There's a thing here that okay. If I remember, there's a thing that this guy doesn't like it. I need to do a mapper. Another thing about the Tokyo one is that it doesn't have that. There's something here that, yeah, okay. So you need to do that. It's not boxed in friendly somehow. But that is just very little issues. So I do that. I have the connection now, and I should be able to run. So if I go to my simple guy over there, connection execute, that's it. Then void. Connection execute. And then I do my SQL. And I do void. Then that should be let num, which is the number of things that I change, and that question mark. Get the number, and I do the OK. And then I don't have any param on this guy. Now you could say, well, it's silly to not have param, which is fair. So I'm going to go back here, git log, git add. Let's see. So here again, I'm learning. It's a Rust XP SQLite. I'm learning SQLite. We have done all of these chapters. I'm going to make a video of 20 to 40 minutes here, which is going to be very, very dense. But I'm doing the making of now with everybody online. I'm doing this experiment, if people like it or not. And then we are the last chapter. I thought this one was going to be the last, but this one is the last. And I don't know if I will do it in the video or not, because I'm trying to scope my video at 20 to 40 minutes max. Otherwise, people get overwhelmed and it might be too long. And this one, people can say is a little bit subjective in a way, which is true. Yeah, it's a perspective. And so I need a param. So I'm going to git C, and this is work in progress, C07, db. I don't want to write that. And then I say first interface definition, which is what we did. Go back to my beacon, everything runs, doesn't really matter. And then what we're going to do, I think I can simplify like that. We don't need the cargo. We don't need the craft seed. I don't want to touch it because I don't want to touch the stuff above. db util lib, we don't care. Simple perhaps. So now let me see. Here, can we use our execute somewhere? We could use it here, but it needs param. That's fair. So, well, actually, you know what? We could use it here. So in my DB manager, I could do it something like that. So I'm being slow here. So right now I'm creating the schema, but I will do, And I don't want to change the create schema because I don't want to inject DB manager everywhere. So this one would still be like that. Yeah. But then after, so this, I'm sorry. So this one would still be like that. And then after I can do a let DB. And this is where I have my DB new. And this is why I had this like that. Boom. F. And then I should be able to insert it like that. Boom. And now go back there. And what I should be able to do is no, because I don't return the rows. I don't know if I can do no, I need the params. Okay, so let's try to do the params. The params that I cannot pronounce it. And so on this guy here, I have params P. P is params. So I think and this one is a magical one. Somewhere there's like a lot of from into this guy. So this guy is where quite a bit of magic happen. So what we're going to hope is we can do this time or we can do the other time. So I go back to my DB guy and I'm going to add there params. It's the same thing, yeah? Params. And I press save. Yeah. And press things. Yeah. And then results and size. That is pretty cool. So then that's it. So now we can even do. So can we change something here? Yeah, here we didn't care about keeping the ID, so we can do that. So we're going to go to our DB. Yeah, it's these macros define all the stuff and things. But it's get finicky. I mean, I did it for my ModQL, for the thing, for it can get finicky to get it right. And then I do, so I have the debug, I don't need debug, but I think I need clone here. And this one might be, this one is not good, might be arc or something. Because it's immutable, but, so I don't need a mutex, but it might not. Yeah, that's fine. It won't be. So this one I will do an option of arc str probably. It's a cool video from Logan Smith about the arc str. But for now, let's keep it this way. And I'm trying to think in my head. Sorry, I'm slow. Now I should be able to do a DB, new path, and rather to open a new connection. I should be able to, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do for every guy, I'm going to do a let DB. I think, can I do clone? Okay. And then I move this guy over there. Yeah, that's the whole point. And then I can do a DB and something like that. Should we try to save? Almost. Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. Remember, we decided to put it await. Honestly, it doesn't have to be await because it's sync anyway. So here I'm adding await, but honestly, it doesn't have to be await. So that is one thing where I do something and my brain say, well, that's silly, why are you doing that? And then the other one say, well, you know, because it's cool to be await. Because when I talk to PostgreSQL, I am await. So I like this symmetry, but might not make sense to bring it back to SQLite because it's not await. But anyway, I have the execute await over there. And it's not yielding over there. Now, the cool thing about stuff is I could have, like in await, when you have a await, you can do a Tokyo yield now, which gives time to breathe for other people. So if I have a lot of processing on rows, might be good. I don't know. So that's pretty cool. It's actually running very well. That is actually very cool. So that's it. This is actually this guy running. So I have the things, I have the DB clone. So every time I clone the thing, if I don't DB clone, it will be moved once, but then I cannot move the other guy. I DB clone that. Now the thing I'm saying is to say, well, that you don't want to clone the string. So what you will do is you will put it in arc. And you will do an arc str, which is a very cool. Logan Smith has a very cool video on that. And something is going to complain over there. And it will be funny to say, grab something like that. And then that is, I think something, yeah. You need to deref it and re-ref it. Okay. When you say as deref, we should be the same. And I'm going to check that. Yeah. Okay, what is something that I... yeah, that works. Yeah, can leave it like, doesn't matter. So the thing I'm saying is open the stuff and it works. Everything works very well there. So now I will do this guy. Remember this guy here, which is always a pain. I'm sorry, I'm going back to my, not that guy, I'm going to go to this guy. And so this is nice. Thanks. This one is a toString here. I need to think about it, but there's a better way here to do that, but thanks. And then the boxed-in, sometimes it doesn't like it when you have async stuff. And the next one. Yeah, Ricardo, that is a good question. What is the limitation of SQLite in production? I'm using to prototype. So production is already used, and it's probably the biggest database that is used in production of the whole planet. And the reason why is on your phone, I mean, a client app, a Chrome application is a production application. Microsoft Office is Office on the desktop is production. Photoshop is a production app. And so production app could be on the client, could be on the cloud. Is something that if it's broken and stuff, you get sued, you have to give money back. So that's the pressure of a production application for me. So SQLite, for everything which is on device, is already probably the biggest production database ever made, I think. On your phone, you probably have, I don't know, I'm going to say a silly number, but I have, I don't know, probably, I don't have that many apps, but I have like, let's say 20 apps. I'm sure I have 15 SQLite, at least because the operating system might be using many instances of them. And on the desktop, I wouldn't even count them. So SQLite on the devices is full production ready. SQLite on the edge, which means that in the cloud you have, I wouldn't say a Lambda, but you have some sort of pods or something that runs and you want to query things and cache things. I'm going to use it me for SQL, for dev AI, to cache, to index markdown content and all of that. So for that, it's fully production ready, because it's already that. Where it's not production ready, and where you're right, it's like more like prototyping, is let's say that you say, well, I want to do a cloud application, and I don't want to use Postgres. I want to use SQLite. Well, SQLite is not designed for that. It's not designed for high concurrency. Just not. Yeah. So can it work? Yes. Thanks to Rust, because you can do your connection pool and stuff, you can actually have requests. So that is where I'm going to put a caveat in what I'm saying, is I think you can go a long way with SQLite and building a very cool application for yourself, because since you have Rust, SQLite or whatever, you use a pool system or whatever, you have pretty good concurrency, and so you can scale to not to 1,000 per second users or 10,000 per minute or whatever we want to say it, but you can write something that will work pretty well. However, my recommendation is, if you do a cloud app, you have to plan to move to Postgres. For Postgres is gold. There's no reason to not move there. Now, SQLite is good as well for desktop apps, for command line, for things on the edge. Like, the more I've been using it in 2024, the more I'm saying, oh my God, it's heaven. And the whole JSON and JSONB is amazing. So it's it's good because it's focused. It's narrow to what is not trying to be the database for everybody. When you have a database that say, hey, well, all the use case, embedded, cloud, vector, sky, space, or whatever, real time and time series and everything, all of these requirements are so disparate that yes, you can do, but at the end of the day, you are going to have the universal hammer or the kitchen sink syndrome. I mean, or the consequences, or, So that is a trick. And the thing I love about SQLite is, no, they are very focused on this, like, I wouldn't say single user, but, this small embedded database that can scale very well and that can surprisingly scale. So that is what I love about it. It doesn't try to be the database for everything. And the same thing, Postgres doesn't try to be the embedded below 2 meg of database. Yeah. So if we look at, for example, here's one thing here. This is actually pretty cool to look at. If we look, we're going to do a cargo build, -- release, -- example, and we're going to take the Caesar one is simple, yeah, because that is obviously the simplest. This is actually a pretty cool thing to do. To compile the stuff. So that is it. It looks boring like that, but it's pretty amazing. Yeah, the guy of Rust SQLite and everything is the guy also that did the lib3 and everything. Compiles the whole stuff in C inside our binary, which is awesome. So now if I do a LSH and I do a target, I think they're on release. And they're on the example, sorry. And 2.5 meg. So, the rest, if I do a hello world, I don't know how much I am, but I have a whole database at 2.5 meg. So cannot be Postgres. We cannot have it everywhere. Yeah? Nobody has found the magical algorithm or whatever, but it does so much for that size. So that is what I'm saying. So, and the trick also is what you don't want to do. I mean, you could, but, and some people are forking SQLite and are trying to make it as a Postgres. But again, SQLite is not to make a server API, is not to make a SQL API, remote API. Yeah, so that is the thing. Hopefully that that answer. So it's really embedded when you have a process. So if you have one web app server and is enough for you, that's great. But sometimes you need more. And so if you need more, then you cannot have more reading and writing into the same SQLite file. It cannot take, practically on the cloud, that cannot work because the file will be distributed, it doesn't work, and it's all buggy. And then, I mean, that's why you have Postgres. So this is pretty cool. We did this guy, and I think the other one that I want to do, oh, but I don't even use it there. This one was this guy. This is the second one I will do, which is always annoying to do this, yeah? So that is the constructor, so we're happy with that. And that is this guy. So I will do the same thing over there. And then I will have connection over there. Okay. Then I will have the prepare statement of my SQL, which will have the stuff. And then I will have the params. Yeah, that's cool. And now the error system is simpler. And then that will be the org ID, I64, and I will do OK. There's a bug here now. Okay. So that will be good. And I'm not going, I could update it here, but I'm not going to do it, but I could do this guy. And then I will do yeah. This is what I had before. Yeah, but then, oh yeah, I'm sorry. ID, no, it's good. Good, returning ID. That will return the ID now. I64 is not use size anymore. It's beautiful. And then if I wanted, I could have a let IDs new and do a mute. Usually I don't have to do it because I'm going to have, but I don't like the things where I have to fish down there, the type, just personal things. And then I will do that and I say, hey, Copilot. Copilot. Yeah. That's it. So that is what I will do. And if I print that, if I do a beacon, that will run. And before I do this, if I do a print and I'm going to use IDs, debug, then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I didn't have this, I will have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 because it's the size that has been updated. Yep. So that is working pretty nicely. So that is pretty cool. And then that's it. And then I will do this guy here. Right now I have to do it, I guess. So this is the thing here. Okay, so rows. This is a trick. I have rows now. But remember, yeah, these rows here point to this guy. And this guy has, I don't know why he has. Wait. No, because it will be too good to be true. No, I don't think I can. We can try it, but good luck. Okay, we're going to try it. Okay, so here's the things that it should be. It should be this lifetime, I think. The one of self. The reason why I'm not sure is because, why I'm not sure, why it complains here? Oh, I don't know, I don't return it yet. Yeah. Yeah. And the reason why is because we believe it is, but the connection of self, even if it owns this guy, this is created after and stuff. So you cannot trace it back. It would be a crazy way here. How long do we have? We still have 14 people. That is that. So here's the thing I'm thinking. The thing I'm thinking is about, okay, so this is not, doesn't, even if it's connection and things are more or less, is not the connection. These two are here are entangled, yeah, if we want to be fancy. And this one here, I cannot do that. That will be too much for him because he will say, hey, this is not this lifetime because it's that lifetime. So one thing I can do is something like that. I like to return implements allies. To return into implement allies. Yeah, no, yeah, but SQLite, no, SQLite, yeah, I like Rust SQLite. But SQLite has another things because they take care of these things, yeah? So they have a whole API where you get the thing back, yeah? So I've been very deep in because I've created a SQL builder, SQLB on top of SQLX. And so they have a nice things. The problem of SQLX is they're trying to do a lot because they're trying to be the SQL driver. They're implementing their own, they are using the lib, the libsys3 built by Rust SQLite, but they're not using Rust SQLite. They're not using Postgres or Tokyo Postgres. It's cool. It's very impressive. I got some issues with SQLite sometime on my Postgres and stuff, so I'm still using it in my Rust web app. But for that needs, I like to go there. But I agree that they have solved some of this problem. But it's an interesting one to resolve anyway. One way that they have, because I remember I have these things and it's get a little bit hard to explain our stuff. One thing that they have is they have these things where if I put I might be able to have. So that should compile. Is that useful? That is something else. Okay, so now I don't like the word result because it's looks like it's an not that much better, but sorry guys. Ah, damn it. Yeah. No. I need to think about this guy. So I could serialize it here. One thing I could do is the thing I had before with my field, but I'm not happy. I'm trying to find a smarter way. I was hoping. It's funny, they have the thing here. I have a problem to see. There's something. I will look at that somewhere. There might be something smart to do here. But no, I don't think there's something smart because I think everything goes back to the connection, and the connection gets dropped there. I don't know. So if I do a thing like this, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, that was silly. That was silly. Yep. So I think perhaps having the query, there's something here that I need to think about. Otherwise, you serialize it, and then you have the name, and the thing I was saying, you have the name of the column. So you serialize it like this. This is relatively simple. Yeah, you do a field. And then inside the field, you can do field or whatever. Or you can do on. What am I saying? Yeah, a row will become a list of field. Abstract. And then you will have the name, string, and then the value. And that will be a value of row, which is what this guy should be, yeah, of Rust SQLite. So then the goal is, will be you stuff, you iterate that, and you build this guy. And then perhaps here, so this is what I did. So I did something pretty cool here. If you go to the db-util, if you look at this, this is what we did. We did a row as ref, okay? And so that gives me all the names. So I have all the names. So in fact, what I could use is I can do almost arcster for each one, perhaps. And then I have the vector of all the names, and then I print all the values. So here I print them, but I can, keep them there. I can keep the value. Now, the reason why I don't want that is because I don't want to repeat all the name all the time. This is not a nice way. So that's why it was nice for them to have that there. So this is a thing. So perhaps what I could do for the stream. I do it for the stream. If that is a good question. Do you usually code with that font size or just for the stream? Is that big enough for you guys? I mean, because if you want to see what I code like, I mean, you don't want to see, believe me. What do I do? That is with what I code like. Much nicer. But that being said, I need to think about it. Wait 1 sec. Okay, can you hear me now? So I'm back. Yes, it's big enough. It was perfect for me. It's getting to the point where my font size has gotten bigger over the years and stuff. Yeah, well, I'm getting old too and stuff, but somehow I like small, but yeah. So anyway, I need to think about this. But so the brute force way here, which is not going to be elegant, I don't like it, okay? But I will do a let. Yeah, okay, I will do a rows. I will do a rows, and then this will be a vect of vect, yeah, because it's also rows. That will be a field, something like that, okay? And that I will have vect new, and then I will do the 4 rows, something like that. Mute, and then I will do a 4 row in rows, and then I will create the row, and then I will add the row to the on row. Okay, so I will have let on row. That will be a vector of this guy. This mute, I might have a stuff. And then I will iterate through that. I will iterate that. And then this one will be I wouldn't be happy with that, but I'm going to try to see later to see if I can. I think it's next or something. I have it on the DB print. So DB print here, I have a pretty good. Yeah, you have to do that. Yeah, while next stuff. This is the way you do that. So the cool thing here is I have the logic here to go there. So anyway, so I wouldn't do that right now. I would say iterate. I would say, okay, brilliant. So I'm not going to implement that right now. And then this one was a hack. Okay. So I'm going to do quick. So I don't know if I'm going to do that. If I have a nice way, elegant way of doing it, I will put my DB manager into the stuff. Otherwise, I won't. Now, in my case, if you look at ModQL, which is a crate that I've done and I published, I have some cool kind of things where I take this and put it into a struct. But in this example, I don't want to introduce ModQL. Moreover, ModQL depends also of SQLite, and now that Rust SQLite is 33, there's a whole little dependency dance here that I need to do. Yeah, I can put a function stuff there, but it's not. Yeah, there's many ways to skin the cat. Yeah, so you're right, I could, and it's a little bit what they did. Yeah, so I could ask them to say, hey, give me your function. Yeah, you're right. This is a good point here. Why not pass a? I can put a function here like row fn, a little bit like they had, and then they give me the row fn, and then I call it or something like that. So there's many, or I can have an iterator or where iterator. No, because I will have the same problem. But I would like to try to solve this problem here. These things of, I think there's something smart because in fact, if I have a smart way of getting the names and being able to reuse the name for the rows, and then create an iterator for it without duplicating the name for the row, that would be cool. But otherwise, there's many ways to define the skin the cat here. So git log, and I say git c, I'm going to say C07 db first pass, but query. Okay. And that will be it. So hopefully you enjoy the things. At the end here, this last one, you can play with it. Actually, it's a very good exercise. I might play with it as well. And then I'm going to work on that video here, such as I can package it in 40 minutes, like I did many other videos on my channel. Feedback welcome. One of the things here is that will be available for public for 12 hours. So if you didn't watch or the beginning, you can watch it. And then after 2 days on the early access and definitely in the live stream, we'll have a production live stream sometime scheduled this week, probably about Rust web app. It's mostly about cloud production and stuff. And I poll for the topics and we do stuff. Those are more like ad hoc live stream. So that is the things. And hopefully you liked it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I think I'm going to end pretty soon. And give a try to DevAI because DevAI is awesome. I have a cool video about it. And until next one, happy coding.